Okay, welcome everyone. It's 7 o'clock. We're so glad you're here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, can we have the roll call, please?
Tom Vaughn. Shoemaker.
Here.
Hirschberger.
Here.
Zollers.
Here.
Kellogg.
Here.
Austin.
Here.
Okay, can we have a motion to excuse Bobby Curry from tonight's council meeting, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Hirschberger.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Okay, the only community event to talk about that's coming up is September 1st. Is a Tuesday, is the tree planting at Deer Run Park at 6 p.m. for the America 250th Holmes County tree. So that is upcoming. We have a lot of people that want to talk to council, so we were going to jump straight into that. We're going to start with Frank Arnold. Can you give your name and address, please, Frank? Thank you.
My name is Frank Arnold from Millersburg, Ohio. My address is 3734 County Road 58.
Thank you.
I'm here tonight for a safety concern. It's been brought up over the last few years. I've mentioned a few other years to some people on council. It seems to go by the wayside. And it just so happens on July 26th, my wife hit this thing. And that was the last straw because I just put 4 tires on a Lexus and had the thing lined up, and I got a bad tire and I need an alignment. Several people hit this thing. The evidence is there, it speaks for itself. There's markers up, it's a heavily traveled road, it's on Port Washington Road. And I'm sure some of you are aware where it's at. So that being said, I'm going to pass out some information here. Take it around and pass it down.
I know where it's at too, so I know where it's at.
Now, if you notice in the photo, the curb's pretty beat up, and they got reflective markers out there. Now, what's that tell you? There's a problem. I've seen a tandem trailer with the front axle knocked out from under it. I know an elderly woman who destroyed her car, a widow woman, who had to go get a different automobile. It's nothing but a hardship on the traveling public, not to mention the westbound lane is 10 feet wide. The overall width of the road is a little bit shy of 11 feet. So if somebody's coming eastbound and they're drifting left to center, you have no place to go but to hit that curb. So if you do your homework, which I have, if you have a full-size SUV, sit down please. If you have a full-size SUV, you need 3 feet of variance going into a slight curb at 35 mile an hour. You don't have it. The curb is 27 feet inside the easement. It's way out of bounds. I don't know who put it in, but it's the wrong kind of curb. If there was any kind of curb in there, it should have been a rounded curb for safety. So I was told that the curb was put in for a drainage issue. Dirt was washing out in their driveway. Well, so be it. It's called leaf blowers. You blow it off. I got the same problem at my house, but I didn't put anything out in front of my house to cause problems to the traveling public. So there could have been other ways to avoid this other than put a blunt curb there with no forgiveness. And I hope you guys reconsider and drive out and look at it. I'm not gonna point out any names. I'm not here to do a character assassination on anybody or cause hardship. I just want you to go look at the safety issue and get it addressed, because what's gonna happen is right now I'm on record. And I was told to be here and get it on record. That makes you liable. So I don't think you want another lawsuit in this town. So I hope that you take time to go look at it. And, you know, you could have a head-on collision there at 35 miles an hour. That's a 70-mile-an-hour impact. So a lot of distracted driving, people going left to center, and you have absolutely no place to go in that area except hit it. So once again, I hope you read the information that I give you there. And I'd like a copy of the minutes when you're done, please. And I want to know the results of what you guys decided. And then we'll go from there. Okay?
Okay,
I appreciate your time.
sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
Can I have
right.
a picture back, please? Well, you can have, just keep the picture.
Okay. All right, next we'll have Greg. Could you state your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Greg Connor. I live on 886 East Jackson Street. I have, they're building 2 new houses beside me within 20 feet. I talked to Nate and he got a hold of them and I thought they'd be there. They're blowing me off about the mud running across onto my property from their thing there. It had no silt fence. And I called him and I talked to the contractor, and the contractor says, well, what do you want me to do about it? I said, I'd like for you to put a silt fence up. Well, what's that going to do? I says, well, you know, anybody knows when you're building new stuff, you put a silt fence on it, nobody else. Well, you feel like I need to do that? I said, well, yeah. He says, well, I said, there's other things you can do. You can put hay bales, you can put these here diaper things down, you know. Well, we're going to divert the water. I says, you can't divert that much water to keep it from getting down on me. Well, we're going to, you know, I says, have it done. So I thought I'd come to here to council, so I'd have it on record to let, you know, I know Nate knows he's working with me, he's good, you know, I appreciate his time. But I thought, you know, after I talked to him, then I called them, they just don't want to talk to me, you know. And they built these houses and they went 2 to 3 foot above the property, the height of the grass it was already. So I was just kind of a little upset that nobody will talk to me. They won't even nod at me, wave at me. I'll try to, they won't even look at me. They're just better than me, I guess, so I'm just do what I can do, you know. I mean, I pay my taxes, you know, everything, so. Okay, I'm done. Okay.
Thank you.
I'll keep after him, Greg,
Okay.
I promise you.
Well, he told me 5 o'clock tomorrow about that, but I don't believe him.
We had this issue down by the condos.
Yeah,
And I think you addressed that, so I think that needs to be done.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah, I called him this afternoon.
Okay.
All right, Rick. Can you please state your name and address for us, please?
Rick Stoner, I live at 133 West Jackson Street, Apartment 2, Millersburg. I've lived here for 72 years. I've got 3 issues that's kind of bothering me. One, why does not this county have a homeless shelter? 2, is there an ordinance against panhandling? 3, U-turns in this town are rampant.
I don't know why we don't have a county homeless shelter. I don't know the answer to that.
I've got 2 people off the streets. I personally found them housing myself to get them off the street.
We've had some people call in. We have numbers and places for people to go if they need help, or if they need help with an electric bill, a gas bill, things like that. We have resources for people like that.
Yeah, but they denied them. The one guy was denied I don't know how many times. He was living out of his car when I found him.
I know the
I got a
virus.
real heart for the
Yeah.
homeless people. So that's about all I got to say. I just wanna know what can be done about it, if anything. I'd like to have minutes from it.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
Has anybody contacted NoHoCo, Ashland?
Viola Stutzman,
Viola Startsman
Startsman
and the
and-
United Way both have programs.
yeah, that if they would,
Call.
that they're really good. at
They
that.
are good.
The panhandling, has that been addressed?
I
mean, I know there's people
I
that
don't
sit
know
down
anything
at
about
Walmart.
panhandling, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
if they're obstructing anything, then we'll go down and
Okay.
deal with them.
I mean, just people, U-turns, I've seen the U-turns. I've seen the U-turns.
day out here.
I've watched people do a U-turn in front, I've watched people do it, so that's law enforcement.
All right.
Chief, is that, I mean, something that is actively watched for? I mean, is that a separate category on the report or not that you gave us? Or is
So,
that just a
so
general
the,
fall
so
under
the
traffic
report
offense?
is stuff that we've cited for
Right.
or higher things in the past.
Mhm.
You know, if one comes up, then we'll add it to it, but the officers, yeah, I'm gonna say yes, they're looking for it.
Mhm.
They know in the downtown area that it's not allowed.
Most people won't do it if they see a cop car.
Right, and that is the problem right there.
And-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear no. Okay, Envision.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Emil Lizniansky, principal with Envision and project manager for the housing study funded through the county and worked on in conjunction with Nate and his team here at the village. So just wanted to give you a brief overview of the project. Nate was kind enough to print out some handouts. I won't go through every page of the documents, but I'm going to kind of hit the highlights that I think are most relative to you here in the village. So just kind of starting off with our stakeholder input, we talked to a lot of folks, public, private partners, nonprofits, developers, builders, apartment managers, contractors. But some of the things we really heard over and over again were that the local business workforce housing needs are not being met here in the county. And the data will back that up. Innovative financing, gap financing is going to be required to meet housing production needs. Nonprofit partners like Habitat for Humanity have a waiting list to get into their homes for folks in need. Denser housing is probably going to have to be part of the mix, and when we say denser, that doesn't have to be high-rise or super dense, but maybe townhomes, connected homes, a few blocks here around the downtown area. Some of the unique local housing dynamics, particularly land auctions, is the high price of land here that's unique to Amish country. It was something that was stated over and over again. And then the terrain of the county just being very hilly and quite wet here along the river with wetlands and those kind of environmental constraints, again, that limit what kind of land can be subdivided and ultimately developed. Another thing that came up, and this is not unique to Holmes County, is that infrastructure costs have risen faster in recent decades than actual housing production costs. And that really, again, limits the ability to have that attainable workforce housing with subdivided land, just because the infrastructure, the road, the water, sewer is so expensive to put in. And last but not least was the need to update, you are the only community with zoning in the county, but looking at ways to make that more flexible to encourage housing production. As I go through the recommendations, we'll talk about the different levers we can pull to try to encourage housing development, but zoning is definitely one that's low cost. It's really reducing that regulatory barrier. So kind of flipping to the next page, that's page 28 of the full packet, but your third page there. The biggest driver for housing demand is actually the workforce. And when we compared Holmes County to all the surrounding rural counties, so we're excluding Stark from this analysis, they had about 54% of their workforce in each county, so employed in the county, also lived in the county. You guys are only at 44%. So it stands to reason that you could easily increase the amount of people living and working here in the county, which is a productive thing for the tax base, the school revenues, sales tax that the county likes, all those things. When we looked and ran those demand numbers, that equated to about 858 new owner-occupied units and 280 for rent units. And again, that's just market demand. Do we think that many homes are going to get built here in the county? No, because of all the things we say need or constrain housing. But that's what the market, absent all those barriers, could support. The next page there, page 29, talks about market demand for owner-occupied housing based on housing turnover. So in a healthy housing market, you're assuming somebody moves every 12 years on average. Obviously, we have a very large Amish population here, and anecdotally, they're a little less likely to move and jump around as far as houses, so those percentages are reduced to be conservative. But we still see a gap, particularly in that $200,000 to $300,000 price point, about 150 homes there. In that 400,000 plus range, we're not seeing, the need. There's quite a few custom builds around the county, so not an issue there. Flipping to the next page, the last but not least was rentals. When we looked at for kind of low income and moderate income folks, there were demand there for 310 units for low income, which is defined as 50 to 80% of area median income, and another 360 units of need for moderate income, 80 to 100% of area median income. We didn't see demand for extremely low income or very low income. Now, of course, every community has people in need, and sometimes the reality is that folks are living in housing that's beneath their income level. They could afford something more, but they're choosing for whatever reason, family dynamics, personal finances, just being cheap, whatever it might be, they might be renting a home that they can afford more. So that might be a factor there, but again, there's only so much we can analyze with the data. But when we looked at that low income category, we're talking $850 to $1,500 in rent, depending on the size of the home and the number of earners. And for that moderate income, $1,500 to $2,400. I know when people hear those numbers, they go, that doesn't sound very moderate income, but that's kind of the nature of the housing world we're in these days. So switching to the next page, recommendations, that's page 6 at the bottom. We tried to group these into 4 categories to make this easy to digest. First was development regulations, particularly that zoning piece, and then also the county subdivision regulations. One thing we looked at from the county level is that there's a lot of rural counties in adjacent states, particularly Kentucky, where when we have a subdivision, again, this isn't a through road or a highly traveled road, but your cul-de-sac type of streets, your stub, dead end, those roadway widths in a lot of different jurisdictions are actually a little bit narrower. And you might think, well, saving a foot of pavement on each lane, that's not going to do much. But that does factor in the development costs. So that's something we'd encourage the county to look at to keep those costs down. Financial incentives, obviously something you do already is the community reinvestment area, which is property tax abatement on improved value. So that's already a great thing you're doing. Other potential tools are tax increment financing. Obviously there's a lot of property tax talk at the state right now, so I realize that's a sensitive issue, but we do lay that out there. Another tool is a new community authority, and that would be really developer driven, where they could leverage assessments on the property as well as potentially income earned in a mixed-use development, or if there was a hotel or something bigger. But that's for more complex, larger scale projects. There's obviously some state funding available as well through a couple of Department of Development programs for workforce housing, and those are noted. On the public-private partnership side, a couple of things that came up, and with Time Cares and some of the nonprofits that are an extension of the business community, was this desire to assist with housing production and get the business community to chip in. And we do have a page in there about a case study up in Williams County, and for those not familiar, it's the very northwest corner of the state. They're a client of ours bordering Indiana and Michigan, but very much rural and in some ways a pure community that's having some of the same issues you are from a workforce housing perspective. Their business community there, again, small county, chipped in about $800,000 to help with housing production. and that's detailed in one of the pages. So again, just an example and case study. This isn't a mandate or something you need to formally adopt, but this is an informational study, a menu of options for you to consider. And again, some of these things aren't necessarily village actions, they're partner actions, county actions, potentially township or other village actions. Last but not least was infrastructure and site readiness. We detail out some options there. One thing is the need for a land bank, which is not, again, your issue, but something as you talk to the commissioners and advocates, I think there's maybe 10 counties at this point statewide that don't have a land bank. It's a valuable tool. There's some additional delinquent tax funds that they get statutorily that can be put towards putting vacant and underutilized properties back to productive use and helping with affordable housing. There's a lot of good case studies from across the state for that. We detail one in here from Chillicothe, again, rural Appalachian community that had actually an old school site that they're developing in conjunction, Land Bank and Community Improvement Corporation, which the county has, to do infill housing on that site. Obviously, you have the old elementary school, so we definitely view those kind of sites where you have open land and you're already in an area with existing infrastructure as real potential. Again, we can say, let's get outside grants, but those are very competitive with very little money going around. We're gonna have a new governor next year, so one way or the other, we'll find out what that means as far as housing policy and other things related to taxation. So we're in a little bit of a flux period here as far as what the future holds on tax policy. But just having that tool available, the land bank would be a big plus. We also mentioned, again, Williams County example was a Port Authority. For those of you that go, well, we don't have any water, it's really a development finance authority. While you guys don't have one in here in the county, there's one for East Ohio that could serve the area, and really any port could come in with the commissioner's permission to help out on developing and financing a project. But another tool that can be deployed for you. So with that in mind, I kind of hit the highlights. But I would just kind of turn to page 34, the next one on zoning and development regulations. I'd encourage you guys to look internally at doing a zoning code update. Again, this isn't what you need to do. This is just kind of some of the considerations. When you talk about minimum lot sizes, setbacks, dwelling unit sizes, depth requirements, this is a good exercise to really go through. These things are not quick. This is usually a 9 to 12 month process to really grind through. Planning Commission is going to, beat this thing up. Everybody's going to have input, and we realize that every community has a sweet spot as far as what's the acceptable, amount of density and how do you buffer and transition appropriately between districts. What we kind of outline on that next page, it's a very high-level fat line drawing. If you look and say, well, I'm not in that red area, or I want to be, or I don't want to be, that's intentionally vague. It's just kind of a concept. But thinking within those blocks that are walkable here to the downtown, is that an area you could allow by right certain types of maybe townhomes, connected homes, or smaller units in that area to capitalize again on that existing infrastructure? Because that's the one thing we heard over and over, and this is not unique to you guys, is that development cost is so high for infrastructure. If there's any way to tap into areas with existing street grid, water, sewer, that might make the project more financially viable. I covered the other pieces on site readiness, but I'll just kind of flip to those last 2 pages on potential development sites. If you're somebody who feels the village has enough housing, you could always put it in Site A down in Kilbuck. There's a nice field there, but some of the areas we talked about here in the village were Site B, which was the former elementary. And again, just that there was a bigger building up by, still up by the street, maybe that could be an area for some apartments or more dense housing. And then as you kind of transition to the open space in the back, maybe that's more single family detached or townhomes that taper and are more consistent with the adjacent uses. Site C was on the northeast quadrant of town, going out on 241, larger tract of land. And again, we understand that there's no topo on that. There's hills there. It's not something you can just fill it up. But that was a site that was definitely something we might consider like a conservation development, where we allow developers to be a little more dense in one part of the site, where it's maybe more flat or buildable, and then, hey, we have to conserve and provide open space, riparian setbacks, steep hillsides, leave those areas natural. to help them make their numbers work. Last but not least, there was Site D, the former nursing home. I think that's something that everybody's very familiar with, but maybe an opportunity since there was a bigger building there, again, for apartments or a denser townhome type setup. So that concludes my presentation. I appreciate your patience. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
My understanding of the land bank, a lot of that money comes from penalties of delinquent taxes,
Yes,
which I understand we have very little here in this county. So we can't generate that money.
well, they can also apply for site remediation and preparation funds through the state. So that's something right now that you're not accessing from a county level. That's a big one that people are, applying through land banks. But understood that you're not in a state of distress as some of, like your legacy industrial communities.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate
Yes.
it, everyone.
Yes, thank you. Okay, any other visitors wish to address council? All right, hearing none, can we have a motion to suspend the reading of the minutes, please?
So moved.
Yeah. Tom?
Tom, Vaughn, Shoemaker,
Aye.
Hirschberg,
Aye.
Zollers,
Aye.
Kellogg,
Aye.
Hofstad.
Aye.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, can we have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Hirschberg.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstad.
Aye.
All right, Bill Resolution 2026-18. Are there any questions on the bills totaling $312,744.67? Hearing none, we have a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker,
Aye.
Hirschberg.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstad.
Aye.
All right, Nate.
Okay, the design review board met on the 5th and approved the signage for the holding space, psychotherapy place across the street at 127 West Jackson. Planning and zoning also met on the 5th, approved the lot split and variance for a tiny home on some land at 2 Oak Lane, Kirk Klein's property there. And then they also approved transferring a lot from phase 2 to phase 1 at the Trails Edge development. So they took a lot that was in phase 2. With the way the development, the utility is laid out, it made more sense to swap with a lot that was in phase 1 for this one. So, not an increase, just a different lot for phase 1. We were notified towards the end of July that the federal ARC review, I'm not sure what I was typing there, review is now in review. It's being reviewed, so the application is being reviewed. So a little bit of progress after a standstill. Hopefully it doesn't take that long and we can move forward with life. Clay Street, the mulching project was completed at Clay Street Park. I wanted to thank New Point, the volunteers with the Community Impact Day teams for their time with that. The guys have started assembling the equipment, the table, the bench, and 4 bike racks. Those should be going out soon. Also want to thank Chad for hauling mulch from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill.
You
Appreciate
did
it.
that?
We both did. Did a little bit of truck driving that day. It's fun. Nothing new on the EPA generator grant. We're obviously still waiting for the generator to be delivered. Then we'll get that installed and put to bed, hopefully. The ODOT salt fiasco continues on. So obviously the 12 counties that didn't get bids the second time were sent out for a 3rd round. Still got no bids. ODOT sent us a message. I got an email Friday of last week that we had till noon today to participate with the contract they're offering for $92 a ton. We have to go to Belleville to get it. So I reached out to Cargill to see if we could get a quote. I contacted their government sales rep, had no response. I emailed her, no response. Township to the east of us deals with them directly and has had trouble in the past getting salt, period. So I didn't feel comfortable going into winter not knowing if and when we're gonna get salt. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger and told ODOT we'll participate in this $92 a ton deal. I wanna talk to a couple of the other county jurisdictions to see if we can maybe pool the trucking aspect of it. There's several local companies that may be available if they can get multiple of us signed up with them to do all the trucking. Otherwise, we'll find trucking to get our 250 tons here. In the midst of all this, talked to Steve Summers with the county highway department. They actually joined another group. It's called the CUE, Council of Governments, out of Stark or Summit County. There's about 6 counties that have pooled together and do cooperative purchasing. So I've sent them an inquiry as to joining that cooperative. The county was able to get salt for $70 some dollars a ton this year. So I think it would be worth our while to join that cooperative. My understanding is it's a $250 membership fee, and then we're required to attend 2 meetings a year, or expected to attend 2 meetings a year. I'm more than willing to do that to save $20 a ton, if not more, in the future. So we obviously can't get in on this year's, but be doing that for next year as long as nobody has any objections to that. Nothing new on the Worcester Road project, and then just tomorrow, Steve McKinney will complete his 12-month probationary period. He's been a great addition. He's picked up very quickly. And I'd like a motion to remove him from probationary status, put him on full-time permanent.
So moved.
Second?
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Richard.
Aye.
Zellers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
How much did we pay last year for salt?
That was $65, $66 a ton.
What do you think happened?
I have no idea. The 12 count, this makes, we've talked about this nonstop the last week. It makes no sense. It's not like I would understand if it was a geographic, if we were all down by the river or something, furthest away from the mines. We're kind of all in the middle, and one's close to Sandusky.
Well, there's a reason, obviously, that other counties co-opted, so something has happened at some.
Yeah, there's something
has
going
happened.
I
on.
called Mark Heiner about it because all 3 of his counties, Holmes,
Okay.
Coshocton, and Knox,
Knox,
none of us got salt contracts.
Well,
But
Mark-
it's really interesting because Guernsey County down in the south,
Mhm.
how much was theirs?
171.
Oh, jeez.
Which was $22,000. It would be $22,000 more for us for the year. So Nate and I are both pretty glad because we were worried when we
That
heard
was,
that was what their contract was
that was
for.
the big question then, is if we get an exorbitant price, are we required to take it? You know, if we would have got a horrific bid,
I'll have my
are we
political
obligated
opinions to
take it?
myself, but
How do
I-
we default?
I don't like it.
Yeah,
No, this whole salt thing has been
it's been a mess.
a thorn,
Yeah.
to put it lightly. It doesn't make any sense. So, do you want me to talk about the crosswalks now, or do that later?
Yeah, you can talk about that now. That's fine.
So on the crosswalks, obviously the guys have been painting. We did the transverse striping this year. At night, I noticed at night, when your headlights hit it, it's a lot more reflection. So Chad and I attended a open house vendor expo up at Pathmaster a couple weeks ago for their 50th anniversary. And they invited us up specifically because they had 2 of their vendors there that do a lot of crosswalk work and signal work. They don't recommend putting the strobes at signalized intersections. When we talked to them and described what we're looking at doing, they didn't like that. They said, you know, the manual of uniform traffic control devices strongly discourages you from doing that. What it boiled down to was better lighting is what they recommend. So, in talking this over, if you look at these three intersections, the signal poles have 2 lights on top of them. Each pole has 2 lights on top, and they're just the Victorian lamp, just a down light. I want to get a supplier vendor to come in and look at it, see if we could take those fixtures off and put lights up that would light up across, so that they're all lined up to light up across the crosswalks. If we get a better light that would cast a light across without causing, obviously, glare or blinding conditions for people on the roadway. Is that something you guys would be in favor of?
Sure.
You know, the more I think about this, the lighting improvements we made over the last 20-some years are good, but the intersections definitely could be a lot brighter. That's not going to hurt anything.
Is everyone okay with that? Bob?
Why?
Obviously, it doesn't address daytime,
No,
but I think if we can improve nighttime conditions, that's worthwhile.
And adverse conditions like
And
rain,
yeah,
and,
fall,
you know,
yeah,
if
yeah,
it's
if
like
the lights
that.
are on, it'll be better.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? I'll be working on that.
All right,
I think that's it.
thank you. Chief?
Okay, I gave all you guys a new copy of my quarterly report. Somehow the middle page was omitted whenever packets were sent out, so that's there. Guess I'll kind of flip-flop it. Just letting you know that in-car videos, finally got them installed. Still dealing with a few bugs electrical-wise in them, but they're working for the most part. And then the employee non-pay status, talked to you guys a month or two ago. July was kind of crazy for me. About Stephanie O for going on unpaid status. She will have enough sick vacation leave time until the middle of September, somewhere between the September 4th, I think it's the 18th pay period. Before the end of September, she will run out of her pay, and she had requested to go into the unpaid status. So when I talked to you guys, we didn't do anything because it was still kind of up in the air when that was going to take effect. I'm just coming to you now to get that approval, since we have a better idea of when. And it's weird because we accrue sick leave and vacation each pay, so that kind of eggs her along, but definitely by the end of September she will be out to where she's not even covering a day of being off. So I'd like to get the official approval for her going to unpaid status, and it looks like she will be back 1st of November.
She have a baby?
She
Good. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Vaughn?
Aye.
Shoemaker?
Aye.
Richburger?
Aye.
Zollers?
Aye.
Kellogg?
aye.
Hubstader?
Aye.
Okay, Jessica?
Can we step back for a minute? Is that part of the new ordinance you're gonna read, the 104/2026, or is that something totally different related to what Chief was talking about?
No, something completely
Okay.
different.
All I have is thanking everybody for acknowledging the July financials. The legislation for the leave donation, do you want me to talk about that here, or when we go over it?
We can, when we go over it, if anybody has questions, we can talk about it then. Is that okay?
Did we sign off?
I was
on
gonna say,
the
should there be a
financials?
sheet that you send around for us
Yeah.
I'll
to
send it around.
acknowledge those?
That's correct. I'll send it that way.
Yep.
That's all she's got in
Yeah, that's the one.
here. Is it?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, Is that all that you have then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. We have an upcoming utility vehicle committee meeting on August the 20th at 5 p.m. Our committee members, our chair is Andy Zollers. We have Tom Vaughn, Chief Shaner, our solicitor, Georgie Cool, Tim Hawkins, and Karen Fluart. So I would like to ask for council approval of these committee appointments, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Richburger.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstad.
Aye.
I'm sure you're already on it, Andy, but HB 199 is in the House.
Is it?
Yeah, and it's the current bill that would revise current laws on utility vehicles. So that's just something for you to discuss. The Heritage Partnership, at the last council meeting, when Mark Boley was here for the historical marker thing, did you guys all have a chance to look at the Millersburg, Ohio part? Does anyone have any changes for that, or is this okay for them to go ahead and approve?
I thought it was
Yeah,
good.
that was okay.
Yeah, I really thought it was good. Okay.
Come up with a location yet?
That was, you were in charge of that.
Yeah, Vern's in charge of that, but they haven't met yet to talk. So don't worry, you're not behind.
Where are you at on
Yeah.
that, Brent?
Yeah. Brent's,
Apparently way behind, but geez.
Brent's gonna be representing council for that, so Mark just wanted to make sure that this was okay with everyone so that they can get rolling with that. Okay. All right, then we have committee reports. I passed this paper out that I'm going to read. The only reason that I type this out is so that I do it correctly. You will see that I'm asking this committee to be established as a temporary committee. Council membership may change, priorities may change over time. So making the committee temporary allows council each year to determine whether the committee is still in need, whether it should be reauthorized, modified, discontinued. It just gives future councils more say over it.
Nice. Right.
Good grief. Okay. This will keep decisions with whatever is the current council. That's why I put it like that. If you want it to remain as a temporary, that's fine. If you don't, that's okay too. I would like to ask for a motion pursuant to Rule 6 of the Council Rules of the Village of Millersburg for council to authorize the mayor to establish a temporary 4th of July celebration committee for the purpose of developing recommendations for the village's annual Independence Day celebration. The committee shall serve in an advisory capacity only. Membership should include 2 representatives from Village Council, 2 to 3 downtown Millersburg business owners or operators, and 2 to 3 village residents, as well as someone representing historic downtown Millersburg. It is advisable to also include members from other local organizations. The committee shall develop recommendations for 4th of July activities, including but not limited to parades, entertainment, ceremonies, family activities, vendors, and related events. Coordinate with community organizations, businesses, volunteers, and civic groups regarding proposed activities. Consider public safety, traffic control, parking, sanitation, accessibility, and other logistical matters. Prepare recommendations regarding estimated costs, sponsorship opportunities, and volunteer participation. Submit a written report and recommendations to council. The committee shall not expend public funds, enter into contracts, obligate the village, authorize events, or otherwise act on behalf of village council. The committee shall submit all recommendations, proposed event schedules, parade requests, road closure requests, insurance considerations, and any other requests requiring council action no later than the final regular council meeting in February of the year in which the celebration is to occur. This deadline is established to provide council, the village solicitor, the village administration, the police department, emergency service providers, and the village's insurance carrier sufficient time to review the proposal, determine staffing and resource availability, evaluate liability and insurance requirements, and evaluate any potential contract considerations. Following receipt of the committee's recommendations, council may refer the matter to the village administration, police department, solicitor, or other municipal officials for review and recommendation. Final approval of any village-sponsored event, parade, street closure, expenditure of village funds, use of village personnel or equipment, or insurance coverage shall remain solely within the authority of village council as provided by the Ohio Revised Code and the ordinances of the Village of Millersburg. Upon completion of its duties and acceptance of its final report by council after the 4th of July, the temporary 4th of July celebration committee shall be dissolved unless otherwise continued by action of council. Council may reauthorize the committee for subsequent 4th of July celebrations and may modify its membership or responsibilities as deemed appropriate. Are there any questions?
Makes
Okay,
sense.
can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Hirschberg.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Okay. Brian, you're the chair, and whenever you
Did you
decide.
hear anything from Taylor?
I have not heard
Okay.
anything from Taylor.
There's a board meeting tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
I'll share this with her. That's
Gotcha.
all right.
Okay, cool.
That's good.
Thank you.
So if you want to work at developing your committee, and then
Yeah.
we can have that information at the next council meeting?
Will
Okay,
do.
thank you. All right, we will move into legislation. We have 101-2026, a third reading by title only, an ordinance authorizing the Holmes County GIS Department to administer all housing, numbering, and street address assignments within the Village of Millersburg. Are there any questions? Can we have a motion to pass?
So moved.
Second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Hirschberg.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
All right, we have ordinance 102-2026, a third reading by title only, an ordinance amending the hours of operation for the Village of Millersburg, Ohio designated outdoor refreshment area, DORA, to include Sundays pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 4301.82. Are there any questions?
I'll make the motion to pass.
Okay,
I'll second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Hirschberg.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
all right. Ordinance 103-2026. This one is kind of weird. So we're going to start I'll just go ahead and read it by title only. An ordinance amending the zoning map zone territory of the Village of Millersburg revamp investments. So I need a motion to suspend the second reading and to proceed directly with the third reading today, if that is what council wishes.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Hirschberg.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
All right, are there any questions? Hearing none, can we have a motion to pass?
So moved.
Second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Hirschberg.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
All right, ordinance 104-2026, by title only, an ordinance establishing an employee leave donation program for employees of the Village of Millersburg and declaring an emergency. I will have a motion to suspend the second and third readings if council so wishes.
So moved.
Second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Hirschberg.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
All right, are there any questions? Hearing none, can we have a motion to pass?
So moved.
I'll second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Hirschberg.
Aye.
Zollers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 2026-19, by title only, a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. I believe that I need to ask for a motion to suspend the second and third readings of this.
It's a first and only.
It's a first and only? Okay. Then this is the first and only. Are there any questions? This is essentially our budget that we talked about the last time, sending it to the county and saying, this might be what we do.
I'll make a motion, is that what you wanted?
Okay, yes.
Second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Hirschberger.
Aye.
Fellers.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstadter.
Aye.
Okay. Unfinished business?
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not sure we need a motion in a
Yeah.
second for first reading. I think it just.
Oh, we just no. Oh, no. That messed up. I asked for the motion, the second and third reading, and then she said we only needed the reading and passing, and that's what I believed was the first and the second. Is that true? Did you make a motion to pass or a motion to suspend a reading?
You said read it one time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I was making.
So you made a motion to pass for the one, yes, yes.
Oh,
So-
we're just not doing the first reading, we're doing all three readings.
She said there's only needing one.
She's,
It's a resolution, not an ordinance.
Oh, okay.
so that was a motion to pass, so we didn't
I
need
was
to.
just confused.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. So the electric aggregation, we're gonna hold off on that. We talked about that the last council meeting. The Utility Vehicle Committee has an upcoming meeting. It's nice to see that we have some completed topics going through here. Let me see, where was I going? Down here. Downtown crosswalks, Nate talked about that. I do know the solicitor is working on the nuisance property things, so they are working on that. And the street department did a great job on painting the crosswalks. We talked about that. Okay, is there any other unfinished business council wishes to discuss?
Do we, I mean, trying to think this, yeah, I guess. Like the trailer park, for example. I know that's private property, we have anything to do with it, but if a resident, in their trailer, I had somebody say to me that, sometimes they smell like gas or something. It's like if it's a nuisance, right? Even though it is private property, refer them to,
They're smelling gas.
no, I know,
Yeah.
but, okay.
Yeah, there, if
That's
it's
probably-
gas, fire department,
I might have said that.
definitely.
Well, we
Yikes.
got involved because of the trash and the water mainly, right?
Right,
Okay, yeah.
right.
And I know there's nothing that we can do, but I was just thinking if it gets to a point where it's a nuisance again,
So
they're
there's,
living it.
if they contact, county planning,
Uh-huh.
they are there's landlord-tenant
Okay.
rights and representation for tenants that have grievances against landlords.
Uh-huh.
The county administers that.
Mhm.
They call the planning commission,
Planning
they can get them
commission.
in touch with
Okay,
the proper
sure.
It'll
people.
be Kashak, it'll be
It's
Kashak.
through
and
Kashak
It's kinda
and-
hard
Yeah.
when I sent people to that.
They have
We
them
used
called
to have
planning
some
commission.
brochures out here, I'd have to look if we still have some in the rack out here, but there's numbers for
Sure.
tenant issues,
Okay,
that
that's
kind of
what-
thing.
And they can always contact Rick, who is the receiver.
This
For the
person tells
park.
me they don't get any response, so.
So
He's been down here 2 times in
And-
the
and
past
that-
week, so,
I get it.
yeah.
Is there any progress on selling?
Last I heard, they had somebody and haven't heard any
Yeah, I haven't
updates
heard
since
any
then.
updates. They have
So, I-
two possibilities right now, but.
I understand they opened up a pool down there, a swimming pool.
Oh, wow.
Unofficially?
Yeah.
All right.
The only other thing I have is, do we have any updates, or we're still working or legal with the terrace view, right?
Mhm.
So I did see some pictures of it. Appears they had another group there the last couple of months. And I'm going out on a limb here, but I believe if you drive by there when it's dark and you see flashing lights, that means there's probably a group there. So I don't know, what does that mean? If you drive by there, could we send Is that what you do?
You can call the police department,
And have them
yep.
boot them out? Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
that's what you would do.
Because I know back in February when I said that, at the time, I was told by one of the officers that the person running the place had the lights flashing to keep people out, but not based upon the pictures that I recently have seen, so.
Yeah,
it kind
I
of
would
was
call.
aligned. Okay, thank
They
you.
could go down and check it out, bare minimum.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, new business. I received a phone call yesterday from Alexandria, Virginia, of a gentleman wanting to know if council is interested in installing flock cameras in the village of Millersburg.
Absolutely no.
So I've talked with the district rep several times and told him we don't want him, so I'm not sure who's contacting.
I
me.
told him that I didn't think council was interested in that, but if that changed after I talked to you guys this evening, I would let him know.
I mean, Knox County Sheriff said no.
Is that the general consensus is no? No? Okay, all right. Any other new business?
I had somebody ask me, okay, so, let's see, East Jackson Street, so since you guys, before I got on council, you switched the speed limits down to 25, you know, from the Y to the Y, so this person asked several people why the speed limit isn't 25, so, okay, so when you're coming down the hill from the school, it's 35, and right before you get to 241, it then turns to 25, and everybody's always going 5 over the speed limit anyway, so, and then you got that transition. They wanted to know if we could eventually maybe look into making it 25 up to the hill, because we do have parking on that street. That is the only street in town where there's parking on the side of it where it's 35. Everywhere else in town where you do have parking on the street is 25. So, but I mean, I guess you can pick and choose. They just said, you know, you're kind of going through there real fast, that's all. So.
When we talked about that, the reason is because the downtown business district, and you have to have X amount of businesses
Sure.
compared to X amount of homes, and that's why it was 25. Yeah, and then they did some technical stuff because
Sure.
we were kind of up in the air about 25 to 35 on either end. But if that's something you guys are interested in revisiting,
We already did a study.
yeah, we did.
Really, okay. Well, I know you did this study.
I mean,
They
the
were
state
just-
had say in that.
Yeah, they
No, I
did.
understand.
Have to do another study.
We would have to
for
do
that.
it again.
Yeah. We do a
Yeah.
lot of studies.
Yeah, and they're
It's the same
expensive.
answer.
I've
They're
had, you know,
expensive.
people saying that they're flying through there, you know,
People
and.
flying
and
all over.
I know. And so I said I would bring it up, so.
So new business, I want to make sure that we don't just ignore, when somebody comes to council and addresses something, I don't want that just sitting there. So I don't, you know, whatever you need to look into or address, I know what he's, you know, I don't think that should be ignored. So I think that should be on new business, and I think that should be added, and it should be looked at and talked about, and so I would like that, I don't want somebody coming to council and thinking we're just ignoring that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I need to go out and take a look at, because I'm not sure on Port Washington where that's at. Truthfully, I don't know. And then as far as Greg, I mean, yeah, we need to take care of that for him. And as far as Rick, I mean, I guess I feel like the homeless shelter and stuff, it needs to be something that's coordinated with the county, you know what I mean? I mean, definitely want to do what we can to help, you know, and but it's can't just be, you know, we got to work together. And, so.
Yep.
But I agree. We talk about it next meeting. Keep getting updates on it.
Any other new business?
Still got old business. That was on Children for Sill and Cary Streets. What happened there, I don't,
There's a sign out there already.
oh, there are,
Yeah,
at both streets?
not, Sill, I believe. Sill, yeah. Yeah.
Anything else? Anything for executive session? Hearing none, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Vaughn.
Aye.
Shoemaker.
Aye.
Richter.
Aye.
Saunders.
Aye.
Kellogg.
Aye.
Hofstad.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.